Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sheer Edge Training. This is one of our recorded interviews with an event professional. Today, we are talking to the very lovely Matt Glover, and he is an award-winning event photographer. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Enjoying the sunshine. So yeah, all good here. Now, today we're going to be talking about the secret life of a photographer. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail about what it's like to be a photographer on an event. So whether that's a wedding, whether it's doing a conference, a dinner, a brand launch, a new product. So thank you for taking the time to talk to us about that. For our viewers and our listeners, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started into photography?
Well, my first employed full-time job in photography was in a studio. It was very kind of family orientated. You might have heard it was called venture photography. That was about 13 years ago. So I was there for about 4 years. And I think what I learned then was that I really enjoyed kind of bringing lots of fun and energy. So, and that's kind of what I kind of learned and how it's kind of filtered into my freelance work. So I've been freelance for 9 years. And the main thing that I kind of started when I went freelance was weddings, because I suppose they're quite an easy one to move into from families. And my approach of bringing lots of fun and energy and not too staged kind of actually worked really, really well for kind of the time of being kind of that kind of style of photography. And especially because that kind of fits in nicely with the whole posed family stuff, which it used to be, which is kind of becoming dated at that point. So I kind of slotted in perfectly, kind of going into freelance work with weddings. And then over the period of time, over the last 9 years, I've started to work more and more with businesses and brands. And yeah, I just find it really, really interesting that I can work with brands. I can kind of put my creativity into it more. Whereas at a wedding, I can kind of obviously I'll photograph a wedding and it'll be my take on a wedding, and I'll kind of add energy and kind of I'll help people along with it. But I think with brands, I can add so much. And I can make it. I can listen to people more and translate. Yeah, just be a bit more direction in it really, which I love it really. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. So you work with a whole variety of companies and a whole variety, obviously, of people getting married. Can you just talk us through some of the clients that you've worked for and some of the images that you've taken for them, just so our viewers and listeners can understand kind of what it's like to take a professional photograph?
Yeah, of course. One of my favourite clients that I work for is Everard's, which are a Leicestershire-based brewery. And it kind of really means that I can take their product, which is beer, and their kind of flagship beer is Tiger. And look at these images, for example. You can put them in different contexts. I'm not really a product photographer, but I really, really enjoy lifestyle stuff. So it's kind of taking a product and putting it into context. So obviously here we can see kind of again, it's like thinking outside the box a little bit, like going on a picnic, in a beer garden, and it's kind of making you think oh God, I really want. I mean, I think my favourite time is with friends in laughing, drinking beer in beer gardens. So it's kind of really enticing people to kind of lure them into kind of one of their beer gardens really, and having a good pint. Again, these are kind of very much reflecting just what I said really. In different scenarios where people, very kind of relaxed, having a good laugh, but also very, very important that the brand is the focal point of it, and having people kind of around it and showing the enjoyment that can be had around that product. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I like the fact that it looks really friendly and it's fun. So you've created this whole fun, come and have a beer vibe with us, and that's kind of when you look at
Yeah,
those pictures, I really want to go to the pub and I want to go and have
yeah.
a Tiger because it looks fun to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, Everard's as a brand and as a brewery, and also the pubs as well. Their ethic is very kind of community spirited. It's very kind of bringing people together, and I really, really love that aspect of it, because it means that I get to work with really, really nice people, and they're real people as well. When I go and photograph in pubs, really is kind of who is there, and I'll kind of ask who wants to kind of join in for a bit of fun really, and actually. It's so lovely because obviously they're not trained professionals, so I have to kind of just work around just completely normal people, which I really enjoy. It's very fun, but also it reflects that it's that it is really fun. Beer garden anyway. Right, I will kind of quickly explain these shots. Again, it's getting the brand Tiger. I remember when I kind of photographed this, the guy that's actually kind of like holding the beer tap, like he didn't really want to be in the shot. So I kind of said, well, look, we'll just kind of like, you'll be kind of in the background, you know, a little bit blurred and stuff. And all you really need to do is just look in another direction and kind of just look happy. So kind of, it wasn't really a cheesy shot of, oh, here's me pouring a pint, but it puts the brand within context. And I just think it's just really friendly. And yeah, the way I've composed it, I think it looks lovely actually. And then moving on to the other shot, which is a beer garden shot. I mean, obviously this is very kind of it's a very kind of, this is a very staged image. Like you wouldn't really see a beer like that. However, when I look at it and I see like the blue sky, full pint, and those parasols, it just makes me want to go to a beer garden. So there's lots of different ways that you can use images and photograph them and be creative, really. Basically, kind of, they said, look, have as many pints as you like, take them wherever you like around the pub, and it's absolutely wonderful for me to just kind of like create these little scenarios and have the freedom to kind of do that, really. And then, of course, I send them the images, and they're kind of like, they don't never quite know what they're going to get. They tend to give me a bit of a brief of what they want. But yeah, no, I love that, and it's great for me. It's great to have that kind of creative freedom.
So, most importantly, do you get paid in beer or in pounds?
I do actually get paid in pounds, but they do also give me quite a lot of beer as well, actually, which is lovely. I don't like to say that. But yes, this is very much a beer garden as well. And when I started working for Everard's, they were trying to take away, you know, the stereotypical, you know, men beer, blah, 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 pints. And we kind of made sure that we got some ladies with nail varnish in the beer garden to show that actually, they're a modern company, and actually they want to appeal to everybody. It's not just the guy down the boozer, which, in fact, that's why they booked me, because they knew that I would think more outside of the box, which that was wonderful for me. I bet they are my favourite client. I love you, that's what I was saying.
That's good. And I think that, for you to be able to work in partnership with them and understand their brand, that's what they want from you. They want a photographer that actually gets what they want to deliver to everybody and goes down that path with them and on that journey of photographing their product, to say it is a fun product, it's for everybody, come down, bring your family, bring your friends, and come and try one of our pints.
It's lovely, and because I've worked with them quite a lot now, like I know what they need and the angle that I kind of need to kind of photograph. And also all they kind of tell me now is kind of vaguely some shots that they need, and they don't really kind of no one's breathing down my neck, and it's absolutely wonderful to kind of to go and do that and do it really efficiently. And I've never I've never met the people that I'm going to work for at the individual pub, so actually it's such a lovely experience. It's lovely, I love it.
Oh, that sounds good. So we've got some different images now, which we're going to talk through, which are, I'll let you explain what they are.
Yeah, this is about getting faces into brands. I mean, this guy's a potter, and on his Instagram, he doesn't show his face anywhere at all. But actually, he's a really, really beautiful guy. And I think, actually, I don't know, I think people really like creative people. I love being around creative people. And actually, when they look lovely as well, and they're really passionate about what they do, I think it's really amazing to be able to show that, particularly for social media. So this shot really, because he didn't really even want to do this, really, to be honest. I kind of told him that he needed to. So I asked him to pick one of his favourite items that looked quite complicated, just to kind of show off his skills, really. And then I kind of set that aside, him actually kind of having just thrown some pottery. So, and he works with ceramics as well, so it's kind of very, very pale. So his hands are kind of covered in it. And I just think the composition, it shows how he really works. He isn't the kind of person that would in any way want to be like, oh yeah, look how fun and what a good time I'm having. It was just okay, just stand there. You can just look completely deadpan. You've got your hands, it's fine. I'll sort the composition out. Just be in the picture. And it's fine, and I think that's absolutely lovely, and that is so him and his studio as well. I love it. But there was a lot of kind of art direction that went into that, and he did say he didn't really want to do it, but I think he secretly did. He just kind of. So I basically just had to. He did everything that I asked him to, even though he kind of pretended not to want to. It was quite funny. But yeah, no, the images are absolutely beautiful. I love them.
I suppose your job as a photographer is to tease that out of people, isn't it? It's to make them feel comfortable and say, this is not going to hurt. You're not going to look awful. I'm going to make you and your product look amazing. Just trust me, and let's just go at it like slowly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to have you jumping out of a window to start with. We'll just do something slow to start with, and then
No.
we'll build their confidence up a
Yeah,
bit.
you have to kind of listen and kind of understand who people are, because you can't present people as something that they're not, because then it becomes
Mm,
really inauthentic. They're not
yeah.
going to want to share it because it isn't them. And so really, in a scenario like that, I kind of said, look, I'll keep the shots of you like to a minimum, so we're not going to drag it out. But for the shots that I am getting off you, just kind of doing what I'm just do what I ask, and I'll just make it as easy and smoothly as possible. And I think when you're listening to people's issues, then they trust you. And when they
Mm,
trust you, they'll do what you ask them to. Whereas actually, if you don't, then you've lost them, and then you don't get good shots. So that's
yeah.
really, really important. I think building trust with people.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So this is Pete, and this shot. He's a personal trainer, and this is for his Instagram. And really, this is all about the gym buddy. So it's kind of showing that training with a gym buddy, can kind of like they can help you. You can kind of see that he's actually kind of supporting the weight for a little bit. You can see the interaction. You can see they're having a
Mm,
bit of a laugh. The angle I photographed on, I really really like strong, powerful angles. I kind of think you can tell the difference between an amateur shot and a portrait shot often by literally where the angle that you kind of photograph from. And yeah, it's a really really dead simple shot. But actually, this was really popular on my business Instagram, actually, for some reason, much more than lots and lots of other stuff. But I think lots of fitness people are quite on Instagram and stuff. So yeah, but yeah,
mm,
really, really simple, but really effective. Like, it didn't take long to set that up at all, but the story that it tells
mm.
is just quite powerful, really, I think.
I tell you what,
Powerful.
I like the angle of his arms and then the legs. I think I really like that, because you're instantly drawn to his arms. That's what I'm drawn to straight away. I'm like, oh yeah, you look at that, then I look at his
Of course
face,
you
and
are, Karen.
yeah, of course. Yeah, like I'm drawn to that. I'm drawn to all the colour, but I think again, it's a really nice, relaxed, friendly shot that
Yeah,
that
it's
he's doing
showing
his part.
support. Yeah,
Yeah,
like he's there to help you.
yeah,
And if it's a bit hard on your legs, and also it's a good excuse to get a bit of muscle in there as well. So you have to like be aware of audiences and what looks good. It's every part of it's really important. But this lovely lady is Kat Hayes, and a business called Imagine If, and she does lots of training, and it's all about learning in a creative way. So kind of going back to like when you were a kid, and being quite playful. So and learning through play, really. So it kind of made sense that I would photograph her in a playground. I mean, we talked about it, and she knew that I like to think outside the box. I like fun, and it was her idea. So basically, we just looked for the best playground that we could find,
mm,
and this one was perfect, actually. And let small things like that. The shot on the left, for example. We kind of like that, so that she could put text on the left, so that when she puts things on LinkedIn, that kind of stuff, wants to overlay text on the image, it means that it kind of sits there
mm,
perfectly without kind of having to digitally kind of mess around. And I just think it's a really, really lovely professional like feel. And again, it's got this really playful feel, like kids on swings and stuff. You don't really see adults doing that, and especially from a learning point of view. So like, I think my imagery is so much about being memorable and impactful, and when you see things like this, it looks fun, and I'm always drawn to fun. So I
mm.
think when people think learning, if you can make things fun, then I think you're winning, aren't you, really, surely?
Yeah, and I was going to say, I suppose with this kind of shot, and speaking to this particular lady, you needed to have a good chat with her, a strong brief from her, because you need to know if these shots she wants to use and put text on it, you need to make sure that you're thinking about that when you're preparing the shot. Otherwise,
Absolutely,
she's going to
yeah.
have shots that she can't use because she specifically wants
Yeah,
that to post it. Yeah.
it's all in the planning. It's all in the planning. So
Mm.
I think when you know what the images need to be used for, and the stories that they're going to be used for, and what they're going to be used like on social media, for example, and the stories that are going to
Yeah.
be told, then that's really important, because then you can kind of I can just kind of
Yeah.
get creative, really. And obviously she's there, so I'm constantly kind of checking. And with the
Mm.
wonders of like digital technology, I can show people what I'm photographing at the time, and I can get their feedback immediately. And I think a lot of photographers don't do that, and I don't really understand why, because I think it's a massive opportunity of kind of working with your client and getting it right there and then, without the idea of someone might be being disappointed at the end, I think, is awful, really. So yeah, really, really good communication. Always about really good communication. And this particular shot of Kat is about her creative thinking, and she literally, with a chalk, just kind of drew on some paving stones. And it was quite funny because we had to wait for clouds to go across the sun. Like, there's nothing worse than like bad shadows. But yeah, I love this. The hair looks really, really funky. And I mean, you can't not get that's about, you know, creative thinking, creative ideas. And yeah, that was kind of the shot that we ended our shoot on. So yeah, it kind of works out really well.
Yeah, I like that. No, and I'm just thinking about you mentioned about clouds and things, and I was going to talk about Rob and Claire's wedding that you photographed, and the in, the out, the clouds are in, the out, and the running backwards and forwards, and just to, and
Yeah.
you and how you made it part of the fun of having your photograph taken. Quick, everybody, the sun's out, everybody outside. Oh no, it's raining back in again. And it was, and you know, you've got to make it light-hearted because, you know,
Yeah.
and you want to deliver the perfect shot, and you know,
Exactly.
it was just hilarious, wasn't it?
But yeah, but I just think you've got to kind of you've got to put your mind into where everyone else is, because if you're bossing people around and shouting at them and giving them orders, but you like, I just think, imagine if you were on the other end and being barked at and you didn't really know why. So I think if like it was really funny that it was like right now, right now, right now, and actually everyone was just really laughing and the facial expressions were amazing, purely because actually it was, you know, it's a bit like a cat's approach, really, you know, kind of like but you know, if you're being playful, actually is a really nice approach to get a good outcome, because people are more engaged then, and they don't hate you, which is great.
That's always a winner. Don't hate the photographer.
I really like it when people hate you. Right, yes, this is back to brand photography and getting faces into images, really. And this is quite important because this guy is called Jörg. I can pronounce this correctly now. And he came up from London, actually, really, really lovely guy. And these images are about different scenarios that he works with people. So one of them is like video chat. Another one's kind of like just discussing face to face, and there's different facial expressions showing that he's like listening and paying attention, and kind of I think that reflects lots of his personality. I think if people are very, very serious all the time, then yeah, I think it can be difficult. Basically, you've got to observe who people are, how they behave, and then translate it into really great imagery, but telling a real story, because that's really, really, really important.
Yeah, I agree.
This particular shot, yes. Before we started shooting, he said, Matt, actually, it's really important. I need a banner image, and the banner image needs to be very, very long and thin. And so I got a particular shot in mind. Because he works in London, I kind of thought it was really important that I could kind of show quite a kind of business, like wealthy appearing kind of like background, because you've got to put everyone in the context of what makes sense. Because if the story if it doesn't make sense, people won't trust it. So dead simple shot. I had to stand on a bench right next to a lady that was having a lunch, actually, and she didn't mind, it was fine. And it just meant that I was exactly on the right angle to photograph him. And then people kind of like came and went and stuff, and it was all about getting just the right angle for him, really. So I was leaning on one arm and just looking at the face, really, and making it, because there was a few serious ones, but they looked a bit too serious for a homepage. So he wanted to look friendly but not cheesy. So I photographed this, we cropped it, and literally it slotted straight into his website without anything. Like, I knew that it needed white writing on it, so a dark background was important. And honestly, it was one of those moments where it was just like, this is how good I am. Yeah, it was lovely. And also, like, he looks really friendly, it reflects him, and it's just, yeah, I love working like that. That's good.
Yeah, I think it's a really warm, friendly image. That when you see it straight away, you think, oh, he looks like a really nice guy. Like, he looks approachable, he looks friendly. It's, you know, it just looks like somebody you just want to go and have a chat with, because just because of how that picture's set up.
Yeah, I mean, but because he's a business coach, it kind of made sense that it was in a business setting.
Yeah,
like it doesn't look like I do love photographing people out in the countryside, for example, but you've got to think what reflects, because he came to Leicester, and obviously Leicester doesn't look necessarily like London, so it was finding modern backdrops that would fit it perfectly, and that just worked straight away, which is cool.
Yeah, it looks good.
Right, so yeah, this is kind of about event photography, really, and again, ensuring that you've got really positive facial expressions and showing that people are engaged, but also getting the brands in as well, because it's great when, for example, a brand would share some images of an event, for example. But I think having their actual branding in the image, I think, is so important, because
Mm.
it really kind of reinforces like who they are. So really positive facial expressions is, but again, you have to kind of wait for those. You can set some of them. In fact, the one on the left, I likely would have maybe set that one up a little bit. Obviously, the one on the right, being like, keynote speaker, I couldn't have set that up. It was like, you just have to really focus
Yeah.
and just be ready and shoot and shoot and shoot.
Mm. I think that they're both really lovely shots, and I think but both the people in them look warm, friendly, relaxed, and
Yeah.
with the gentleman at the lectern, Rob, you wouldn't even know that he knows that you're there. Like, he's just carrying on talking, delivering his opening speech for the dinner, and he's just carrying on, and you're in the background just getting these pictures that he wants, and he's just unaware that you're snapping away, because he looks so relaxed on that picture.
Yeah, but I think that kind of approach, it kind of builds the like, know, and trust as well. So people that don't know your brand, when your brand looks friendly and warm and kind of engaging, then I think that's really how people should look, really, when it comes to that kind of photography. Really important.
Mm.
Yes, more happy and engaged people. Oh, actually, yeah, the couple of shots on the left, for example, it's showing the kind of the networking side of events, and showing that people are talking to each other, because that is a key part of events. I think a lot of money goes into them, and actually showing that when people are there, they are connecting, and like you can see they're having a really, really good time. And also, I think a key part that why I included those, it's really important to make sure that you're getting a really nice cross section of the people that are there as well. Like, not just getting guys in ties, for example, because it's kind of, I think it's quite easy to kind of to photograph like that, but having the awareness of just kind of showing the diversity of people that are at every event, I think is really important.
Yeah, and I think
And there's Steve Davis, obviously.
you are right with networking, because people want their events photographed for networking, to say, oh, this is who's here and this is who's who. But you are right that often it can just be a sea of black ties, and there can be no real diversity. So I think the skill of a great photographer is to capture the variety of people that are there, and it's not just 200 men in a suit drinking beer. Actually, the client wants a cross section of who's attended, and people want to see, they're smiling, they're shaking hands, they're having a drink, and to capture all that fun, relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah, and I think when event professionals, for example, are kind of showing what they can offer, and also what they put on, I think it's really important that the reflection of actually what was going on, like if you're kind of trying to promote an event, a good part of that is the fact that people are meeting and catching up and talking to each other. It might be a social environment, but it is business networking at the end of the day. But the fact they are doing it and they're having fun, it's and it's easy to say that, but like if there aren't any people there, for example, or an event isn't very well attended, like you wouldn't know unless you've got proof of it. So actually, by photographing those key elements, it's kind of, for me, it's like ticking all the boxes of what needs to be shown afterwards, really. And it's telling a story, I think, at the end of the day, which I'm all about storytelling. So
it definitely tells a story. From whatever part of the event you're photographing, you're capturing that moment, and the fact that people are having drinks here, they're doing networking, they're obviously going to go on to dinner. So then you'll be creating those images for the client, and then for their viewers on their website to have a look at. So no, it's all fantastic to see how it's captured.
And everyone was all over Steve Davis as well. Like they were like, it was quite funny.
That was busy, wasn't it? I think because Steve, he was a really nice compere, actually, wasn't he? He was really friendly. He was happy to have his picture taken, but everybody wanted their picture taken. Yeah, we did. So
I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, but he was still brilliant, and
oh, he was great.
Yeah, he was good, and I think that's when that you're working with a professional, when they don't mind lots of photos, they don't mind telling them where to stand, stand on the X, you've got the backdrop in the background, and then we'll just like wheel people in and out. So and he on that picture of him,
or they all just run at him.
Yeah, either or, really. Whatever you want to do, listen to us or don't listen.
Oh, he was so cool though. Yeah, no, he was cool. That was so funny.
It was. So we've got some more exhibition
Yeah,
shots.
and again, yeah, at events, it's it's showing that people are interacting with stands and people
Mm,
are coming and talking to you because I think I always think when I'm photographing an event now, usually it'll be an annual thing, so it's showing what's going on now. And if you're wanting to attract exhibitors, you want to see what the exhibitors are doing, and that people are coming up and talking to them and listening to them, and kind of again, I suppose it's kind of a form of networking, and promoting business, really, isn't it? But
yeah.
but showing that it really is happening in a really positive way. Again, with kind of like people just looking happy and engaged and stuff. I think it's really, really, really important. But yeah, so it's kind of like it's engagement and it's getting brands in there as well. Really, really important. That's what I'm looking for when I'm thinking, and also showing that actually that people are there, because some events are quiet, aren't they? Not
Yeah.
without evidence to show actually people will come. You are investing your money wisely.
Mm. And I think I was just thinking then as well, like photographing exhibitions, conferences, dinners, networking, it's actually capturing a moment in time, isn't it, for people that this is what happened in 2020, this was your
Yeah,
event then, and you're capturing kind of how the event changes, how it's progressed, what exhibitors came, which delegates came. So for organisers, it's really relevant to actually capture year on year how their events change, grown, or whether they do an exhibition, don't do an exhibition, if they do an event virtually, if they still do face to face. So actually,
yeah,
photography is a really good way of cataloguing what's happening in the industry and for that particular client as well.
yeah, absolutely. Mm.
Um, oh, going on to some lovely, happy, bubbly
Yeah.
images.
This is onto like wedding photography, and I suppose this shot is really about just like being playful and encouraging people to have fun, and that's a really I mean work. I understand that work is work, but people are allowed to have a good time, and
Mm,
actually like I want them to look happy. So getting to do things that they might think like, I mean, obviously this was actually from a styled shoot actually, and I did buy those space hoppers. But that for me is a way to kind of to show to other potential and new clients, look, come and have fun.
mm,
Don't limit yourself to just posing in a flower arch or something. It's like you can do anything you like. So, but yeah, I love their facial expressions, and of course, I think it's really important that they are just really going for it. They're not saying cheese or anything. Definitely not. Which I love. And he's there, which is great.
yeah, I think that just shows it's fun. Like photography is fun. It doesn't have to be, like you say, stage. It doesn't have to be, standing in line with take your picture. Actually, you can do what you want to bring out your personality
Yeah.
on the event or the wedding or with the brand. You can do whatever you want. Go get some space hoppers. Go get a trampoline. Whatever you want to do, because these are
Go get
your
trampoline.
images.
Go get trampoline.
Next time, trampoline.
Yeah, no, it's really important. Oh, this I think it kind of partly reflects good planning in photography, because um, the couple, Maeve and Kieran on the left and on the right, obviously. The first one's on their pre-wedding shoot on the left, and I took them to the some like rape fields in springtime, which is one of my favourite places to
Mm.
photograph. But that was basically to learn how we work together, a bit like photographing, but also what this is a little bit about a staged image and also capturing a candid image as well. Like, for example, the one on the left was very, 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 very staged. Like, obviously, we're wading through fields, not getting shot by farmers or anything, obviously, really, really important. And just setting the light up and everything perfectly. And I absolutely loved that shot. But I learned how to communicate with them and then how to photograph them. They learned that they felt comfortable, so that when it came to their wedding, obviously they could get on with it with trust, knowing that I know
Mm.
what I'm doing, and I'm going to kind of make sure they feel really comfortable, etc. But the shot on their right, which funny enough is actually going to be the front cover of their wedding book, and I don't totally understand the tradition, but what they're doing is they're jumping over a broom. This will be something Irish, because I photographed it. It wasn't that far from Dublin, so it'll be an Irish tradition because they're both Irish, and yeah. But it was amazing that I managed to capture them in midair. Like, it really kind of, there's quite a lot of energy in the shot, and of course,
Mm.
I knew that was going to happen, but I can't control it. All I can do is get myself into the right place, make sure my lighting's all perfect, my flash is being bounced correctly, and then just kind of wait and just hope
Yeah.
And that was perfect. That is the shot
Yeah.
of that particular moment. And I love that they want it on the front cover of their wedding book as well, actually.
And I think for you as a wedding photographer, you want to capture the couple's personality, don't you? So you want to find something that makes them unique. So how many other people are going to have that kind of shot? Probably not very
Yeah,
many.
I've
You know,
never
and
seen
just,
that.
you know, and it's brilliant, isn't it? That, you know, that they've trusted you to say, right, Matt, we're going to do this at some point, and they know that you're going to be ready, good to go, to do your utmost to get the shot that they clearly want, because that's obviously what they wanted. So, and it's so much fun. Like, it's really, really good fun.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's quite funny because lots of parts of photography can be really, really stressful. But when you get the outcome and all the energy and all the kind of, like, you know, and then it pays off, and it's like, oh, this is why I do it. Because you definitely feel alive when you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? Because it is kind of like, but yeah, brilliant. I love that shot. I love it. And I quite like there were some guests at the side, kind of with their mobile phones as well, because a lot of people go like, "Oh my god, there's nothing worse than when people get their phones out." And I think, but it's reality, and they do. Like, as long as they're not actually right in my way, I don't really have a problem with it, because it kind of reflects the world right now, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah.
And it's
Well, I was saying to you earlier, wasn't I, that actually when you look at photographs, a lot of people obviously look at the main image, but they're having a little look around the outside and going, oh, what's that there, and who's that? And you know that the whole picture is telling a story, isn't it? So, you know, like going back to the pottery guy at the start, actually looking at his workshop's really interesting. Like, people are going, oh, well, what's that on the shelf, and where's this and where's that from? So actually you've got your main image, but then everything around the outside is just as interesting for people, because they're like, oh, well, I wonder where he got that suit from, and oh, what's he doing, and look at the flowers. So you're engaging with people all the time with your photos.
It is really interesting. I think this is why I prefer, like, I used to work in a studio years ago, but now actually, in the context of in the real world, I find much more interesting, because there are all those little elements that you can read these other stories in that wouldn't be there in a studio, which is, I find really interesting anyway. Oh, I love this. Right, well, this particular shot is really about getting a nice ring shot. And I actually did a bit of research on Pinterest, because I always find ring shots. The idea is it can be quite like awkward. I've just dropped my pad there. Anyway, ring shots, like getting the hands in the right place, and it can be quite awkward. So what I did was I kind of photographed or focused on the rings in this shot, and then kind of just allowed a little kiss in the background. And actually, this is my favourite shot from. Are we allowed to say this is you, Karen?
Yes, you can do. Yes, you may. Okay. You may tell me that it is my wedding day. Yeah.
But actually, I'm pretty sure you actually framed this and have it on the wall, don't you?
I do indeed. Yeah, we have got it framed in our lounge, because I think it is for that reason that I really loved it, because it's black and white. I loved it because it's kind of you're the focus, but you're not the main focus of the picture. And trying to capture the ring shots, we were saying that, weren't we, that you can end up looking really awkward and your hands look weird, and it just all is a bit weird. Whereas this is a really, really beautiful picture.
It just feels like old-fashioned romance. Like, I can't believe that I got Andy in that shot.
But nobody can see that we were sat on this tiny little bench for what felt like an eternity, having to clench every muscle in your body, and then having Matt saying, just relax. Yeah, sure. So, but,
I know, and all I really care about is the blooming.
Yeah,
I love this, and I think I find it a little bit funny to kind of make people do things that are a little bit awkward sometimes, because I think it kind of. I'm always aware that, honestly, if it actually annoys people, that's not good. But I think it's really funny kind of putting people in awkward situations, but then get an amazing shot. But they remember it because it was so awkward a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's just my own entertainment, really, to be honest.
And I think sometimes to get that perfect shot, sometimes you've got to be a little bit annoying, a little bit forceful, a little bit demanding. Because actually, you can see the result. Annoying. Yeah, well, you can see the end result, and you can say, this picture's going to be absolutely beautiful, and we need to just go once more with this take, and then you are going to love it. So, Matt, looking at all your photos so far, is there a photo that you've got in mind to show us that is your favourite photo? And can you just explain why this is your favourite photo and how you set it up?
Yeah, it's this one actually. It's really bad that I've just been talking about you, and then it's like, and on to my favourite shot.
I know,
There is a reason.
I did notice
Like
that, but it's fine, don't worry.
on that year, that was my favourite shot. But I photographed this since then, and I think this paints a bigger picture of what my strengths are as a photographer. This is why I love it so much, and I have this on my pop-up banner. And really, I had set up a really kind of stage shot with this, and I think I can't remember exactly what they were doing. Maybe they were kind of having a little kiss or something. But I know that when I put people in quite awkward situations, that they'll kind of laugh a lot as well because it is awkward. But I do keep it really light-hearted and fun. So basically, they kind of just had the giggles halfway through me photographing them. And actually, I just thought, I mean, they look completely beautiful. How relaxed they look. He's properly laughing. But also, it's kind of, I almost think this is a bit like the Made in Chelsea approach, where you kind of, there's something that you want to capture, but then you kind of allow real life to kind of happen as well, if that makes sense. So it's kind of almost posed documentary. It sounds a little bit funny. I don't quite know exactly how to. I just think it's the Made in Chelsea approach. But yeah, I just think I just think it looks so happy and relaxed, but it's really, really classy. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a little bit cheeky as well. So you're bringing out their personality because it is cheeky. It's a little bit fun. It's a little bit romantic. You got like ring. You know, it is. It's like it's a really beautiful.
It's just not too serious though. It's just not too. And what I love it is that it clearly is a real moment, but it's a real moment within something that I was kind of creating. But it's better than the shot that I was actually trying to create. But I know that things like that will often happen. So I don't kind of stage most of my shots. I stage some, but I stage them in a really fun way so that I know the outcome will still be relaxed and fun, even though I'm kind of directing them a little bit.
Well, that's brilliant. No, thank you for all those like little tips and insights and going through all your photos because they're all brilliant. They're all like there's a massive variety of photos there that you've gone through this. So thank you for that. So Matt, do you have time for a few questions? Because we've got a few more questions just to pose to you.
I have got a bit of time, yeah.
Thank you.
Nothing too difficult though, obviously.
No, nothing too challenging. So first question for you is why do you think photography is important to an event?
Well, I think
that event is a wedding, whether it is a product launch.
Yes, right. Well, a lot of money and time goes into organising these things, and they're kind of, for businesses and for people and relationships and couples, they're really historic moments, and they're things that I kind of think, when you've invested that much time, money, headspace, you kind of think you would want it like documenting so you can relive it. So it's also important how you then document it, so that when you are stepping into the space of like looking at the images, you feel like you're there. Did I kind of go off on a tangent there?
Fine. No. That's no, because I think that is why photography is
important. The importance of documenting events. Yeah. It is extremely important, I think, and you are capturing history as well as showing obviously you can use the images however you like, and whoever you want to show them to, but very important, I think. Okay, and how you do
it. Okay, so we've got a couple more questions for you. What is the strangest thing that you've ever had to shoot? Or a different way, what's the strangest thing you've had to do to get the perfect shot?
Oh God, I suppose lying in puddles and getting wet. I can't think of a specific. Oh, hanging over bridges. Yeah, there's lots of strange places that photographers have to get to. I mean, funny enough, actually, I'm thinking about one particular shot that you liked actually, where your bouquet was kind of in focus and the couple were
Yes.
kind of. But I had to, obviously you two had to stand on chairs so that I could lie under a chair to photograph that. So it's just lying in weird places because obviously when you see an image, you can't see that I'm lying on the floor or
No.
lying in a puddle or yeah. I mean, yeah, I've been very very muddy actually over this winter, funnily enough, and I've turned up on a date actually, like covered in mud from my knees down, and just had to just ignore the fact that that was happening. So
Yeah, it's just part of the
but,
job. I've
yeah,
just got to
lying
get
in mud,
ready to get the
lying in mud.
appropriate
But I
shot.
don't mind lying in mud, so I think that's fine.
No, well, I was
If
thinking
you
as
want to
well,
date straight afterwards, though, take some spare clothes. Just saying, there's a tip for you.
top tip, because I was thinking, when you photographed in the rape fields, and we had a family shoot, didn't we? And it was meant to be this beautiful sunny day, and it was literally the opposite of a sunny day. And my little boy Arthur wouldn't even get out of the car for the photo. He was like, "No way, mummy, it's raining!" Like, and it was properly raining, properly muddy, and the
My
photos are lovely, but it, like, we were just all caked in mud all morning, weren't we?
Well, that's the day we finished up going to the bird centre
Yep,
and
I had a parrot
macaws
on my
just
head.
landed on our heads.
Yeah.
That was different. But yeah, I had new walking boots on that day, and they were called Dry Fit, and I was like, within 2 minutes soaking wet because it was that. But we all went though. I thought it was really funny. I
It
think
was. It was funny,
Britain is a wet country in the summer.
and I think
Well, in the spring
you've just got
or
to
whenever
go
it
with
was.
it, haven't
You
you?
do have to go with it.
When it's
You can't fight
photography.
it.
No, and on an event as well. Like, if you're booked for an event, you've just got to go with whatever the conditions are in
Yeah.
front of you. You know, if you're taking pictures outside and it's wet, you know what? You've just got to carry on. You know,
But
you've got to
people
make
know that.
sure. Yeah,
People understand that it's wet and that it's difficult. The point is that you're finding solutions, always, always, always looking for solutions and the best way to solve any problem.
yeah,
And the thing is, as long as you're doing that, there's always there's always solutions to stuff. And maybe if it is raining, then the outcome isn't the one that people have visualized. But at the end of the day, the event's happening and it's there and then. You
yeah.
can't, as a paid professional, go, "Oh, well, I can't do it."
I don't work in these
Oh
conditions. I
God.
must go home
No,
now.
it's
So, no,
like,
you've got to just.
get an umbrella. Where are the people? Where is the interaction going on? Just go and look for whatever's going on.
Yeah, no, that's
A
true.
sense of humour really helps, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Another question we've had is about hardware. So is that relevant for for today as a professional photographer now? Is the hardware that you use is that relevant? Like, what do you use, and what do other people use? And just I suppose a little summary of kind of your thoughts on hardware as a photographer.
Yeah, I think making sure that your equipment's really well serviced. That you've got the lenses that you need for the creativity that you want to
Mm.
do. Having backup equipment's massively important. Having backup battery packs, backup flashes. You just need backup everything in case
Yeah.
anything does go wrong. Um, there's endless amounts of equipment that you can have, but it's about having the equipment that suits you. Like I never really use studio lighting, and I don't really need it. And like I tend to use bounce flash a lot because if you bounce it in the correct way, it'll look like you're not using flash, yet
Mm.
people are lit well.
Yeah.
So it's all about getting a natural look, really. Not that I'm just going on about some other tangent, really. But yeah. Hardware is really, really important. I don't think you do need the best, most expensive thing of everything. You don't. But you need things into really, really good working order. And also, if people are booking you, they've seen the images that you can capture with the equipment that you've got, so they know that that whatever it is that you've got, what its capabilities are. But yeah, I mean, as photographers, we always want to kind of get better equipment. But I think the most important thing though is that you've got backup, absolutely, and that you're organised well enough to have everything kind of charged properly. Yeah, and also like things like God, finding the right camera bag, things like that, because that's how you access your equipment and stuff when you're carrying it, and all sorts of things. But yeah, it is really important. I also think the creative side of what photographers do is probably the most important thing. Like your vision at the beginning and how you respond to people and events and how you kind of capture things, it is the most important part. But if you've got equipment that's not going to fulfill your vision, then you've got a problem there, which you can't be having those problems really.
Yeah. So we've just got one final question for you, and that's just about is there something that you wish you'd known now when you started out as a photographer? So any like advice? I suppose it's advice for people starting out, isn't it? You know, if you're new to photography, what's the one piece of advice you could give them after your kind of years as a professional photographer?
Yeah, funny enough, I, I would say it's the key thing is mindset,
Mm,
because you can look at, like, the best images and get really intimidated and think, you can never be that good, and it can just stop you in your tracks, but that's not really, like, you will never get better if you don't start somewhere. So yeah, key part absolutely is mindset, and being around positive people, and also working with really positive people as well. But yeah, mindset is the answer to that, because you can create worries in your head that aren't really there.
mm,
And then, of course, if you are worrying about stuff that's not really there, then it kind of going to affect your performance and your confidence. If you're not confident enough, you can't really sell yourself. And then, if you're not continuing to work, you will never get better. So, kind of everything comes back to what's going on in your head, really.
mm.
So, mindset.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there's
no,
loads of mindset coaches about and stuff now. And there's lots of things you can follow on social media, all sorts. Yeah, being around positive people and mindset.
that sounds brilliant advice for people, because I think lots of people that are new to their job, or even now that a lot of us are not working or we've got less work coming in, this could be the time when you kind of start to doubt that you've made the right decision to go into
Yeah.
photography, or and actually no, you've just got to believe that you can do this job, that you're good at what you do, and just have this positive outlook, and you will be able to do it. So I think that positive
Oh yeah,
mindset.
My
That's top
mindset
class.
right now is everything. I think mental health and how you deal with this time will be how you come out of it at the other end. Like,
Yeah,
like, connect with people. Support the people that you work with. If people need an ear, if they want to talk, sometimes that's all people need.
yeah.
They just want some reassurance sometimes. And
Mm.
actually, talking to the right people, like, if you talk to someone with a kind of like a positive outlook right now, it's the difference between maybe not sleeping that evening, or thinking, actually, do you know what? Other people are going through this, and we're all supporting each other. We've got community, and that's actually, we can come together more through this.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're definitely right. All those points are just spot on for where we are now. That it's key to talk to your friends, your family, your colleagues, just
Mm.
about how you're feeling. And we are going to get through this, and there's loads of positive stuff coming out of where we are now anyway. So I think
Yeah.
it's about positivity. Your mindset and your positivity. So that's a nice happy note to end on, isn't it? That's a nice
Yeah.
positive end to this. But yes, can I just say,
It's been lovely,
thank you.
actually. It's been lovely. I was really looking forward to talking about this, because, you know, before I was talking about this to clients, like, like day in, day out, and at networking events and stuff. And as much as I'm not talking about it anywhere near as much in depth as I was, like, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So no, this has been really good fun. I really enjoyed it.
Good. Well, it's really nice to have you, and have you like here so we can chat to you. And if anybody's got any other questions that they've got for Matt, then please just send us a message, drop us a line, through Facebook or through LinkedIn, or contact Matt directly. We'll put his details when we post the video, so you can get in touch with him. But yeah, we do really appreciate your time today, Matt. So thank you very much. Thank you.